Okay, so we're going to present today, Reduce Student Costs, Boost Success, Open Resources for the Win. And so here on this learning outcome slide, it's just a few of the things we're going to go over are looking at 2 open textbook portals. Robin will be talking about open pedagogy and non-disposable assignments and explore possible ways to incorporate non-disposable renewable assignments into your own classes. And we'll be sharing that Google Docs if you want to put in your thoughts as far as ideas or practices or fears or thoughts you have about OER.
Stream of consciousness, completely acceptable. You can see some of the examples I put in there, and they are not necessarily the most perfectly formatted examples. So everything is welcome.
So the first thing I want to do is if you can go ahead, and this screen I have up on Poll Everywhere, you can either in your browser go to pollevd.com/dwoetzel132 and answer the questions, or you can put in the number on your mobile phone, 37607, and enter dwoetzel132. And there's just 3 questions we have here. So, let me go ahead and start presenting that. Okay. All right. So, have you ever used open education materials in your classes? It's just a yes or no question. Okay. And then question number 2, how familiar are you with open pedagogy? Okay, A, I have never heard of it. B, I have heard of it, but don't know much about it. C, I have a basic understanding of it. D, somewhat familiar and have explored some open pedagogy practices. And then E, I'm very familiar. Okay. And last question, if you could, this is just an open-ended question, if you could just briefly describe the type of open materials or pedagogy you've used in your classes, and if not, what would you like to use?
And Kimberly said, I am using some assignments, OER. I am interested in doing a sticky OER course, strictly OER course this fall. CDC courses for lab material. Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let me back out of the poll. And I'll go back. Let me go to the guide. So we'll be using some of this guide throughout the session, but what I'm going to do, if you're interested in taking, because I'm not going to cover everything in the guide, I'm going to stick the link to this guide in the chat. And so let me go to the chat and then paste that URL in there. Okay, so you can, if you go back to the chat and click on the link, you can bookmark it in your browser. But next, Robin's going to talk about textbook student costs as far as textbooks.
Oh, do we have the slide?
Oh yeah, let me go back to. All right, so we're going to use the slide for that one.
Yeah, I can never remember specific numbers, but I think that everyone's basically familiar with the concept that education costs in general have just been skyrocketing over the last 10, 20 years, way disproportionate to inflation or any other costs. I think the only thing that gets close to how ridiculous this increase is probably medical and health costs. And some of that can be put to students need better technology, more expensive technology, but not nearly enough to justify this increase. And one of the main culprits in this is our textbooks and publishers of textbooks. And basically, I mean, you can read the slide for the statistics, but I know in my personal experience, as an undergraduate student, I had multiple times where I didn't get a book until like 2 weeks after the class had started because I had to order it online, a used copy. I, at one point, had a class where it got to be halfway through the semester and I realized I wasn't going to get the book. So I just kind of shared with whoever was willing to share at the time. And I know for a fact, my grades suffered in classes like that because it is such an advantage to have the textbook on the first day of class. And I think that's one of the most important things to keep in mind about open pedagogy is that it's awesome to save students money and we love doing that, but it's also having everyone on an equal baseline to start the class with. It's so important and it increases your own students, your success with interaction with your students and with your instruction. So it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Right.
And then,
So, any questions so far about textbook costs or, because what I was going to go on to next is showing you some of the textbook portals we have, the Virginia Faculty Textbook Portal, as well as the Open Textbook Library. And let me go ahead and the links are available from the guide. So you'll notice from this guide, if you move your mouse over search for OER, that'll drop down subpages. And I'm going to click on textbooks, courses, and other materials. And I'm just going to demonstrate how to search two textbook portals here, although you'll notice on this page, if I start scrolling down, there's many other portals you can use or resources on the web where you can find your textbooks. But if you're having difficulty finding material for your classes, you can always reach out to us librarians, Robin or I. We're happy to work with you one-on-one. I mean, we can meet one-on-one via Zoom. We can meet one-on-one in person. But I'm going to try this Open Textbook Library first. And there's a short video on each portal. And the two portals I'm showing you are the Virginia, let me go back to that. The Virginia, I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's where we get most of our databases from through our Virtual Library of Virginia Consortium. And
like many community colleges,
right,
we're very dependent on that assistance.
So let me go to Open Textbook Library, and I'm going to ask Kimberly, are there some keywords I can use for specific textbooks or even chapters? I mean, I could even search for keywords, even if it's not the whole textbook that doesn't cover it.
Right.
Maybe there's a chapter in the textbook that covers.
Yeah, the course that I'm interested in turning into an OE course is an Intro to MedLab Tech class. So it's a MDL 100, which is the basic level class. The book that I'm currently using is it's almost like a dictionary. It's overwhelming. So we're just skimming the information, and the book goes into so much depth that it tends to confuse more than help the course. So if I just assign like a chapter, it's completely, the depth is a lot further than what I really need them to go through in that level of course. Our courses after that go into the depth, but my course 7 weeks doesn't go into that. It's kind of like an overview of what MedLab Tech, individuals in the field do. So that's what I'm going to be searching from.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry, what did you say the name of the course?
Medical lab technology, or technician,
so let me type in medical.
MLT.
So I'm gonna, so that's, so we could start out with that and see what comes up. All right, well, I do see terminology here.
Yeah, so that would be like, terminology would be for like people that are doing like transcription for doctors, that you would need med lab terms, but this is more in the lab itself.
Right.
So
I
So
was-
that lab guide, the clinical hematology,
Right.
that's probably one that I could use for that, overview of
Right.
a section of one part of my class.
Right. So let me show you, and it doesn't matter where in this area you click. Okay. Okay, so when I click on that, there's actually three different formats we can use. The web version, which is online, a PDF format, and actually an ebook that's formatted differently. But let me click on the online version. And so I'm just going to go ahead. You can actually, okay, well, you can download it to PDF again. And so this comes from, well, Open Education in Alberta. But if I click on read book, let's see. So the way this is set up, because it's a web page version, is you can see the chapters of the book and click on the plus signs and then drill down to those sections of the book. Now, let me go back to, now I think about, most of the instructors I've worked with at Reynolds rather not take a copy of this guide, like if it has copyright to create your own copy and edit it. But you'll notice here, it's Creative Commons. You want to give attribution, which is, it's right in the book that it comes from Alberta. And it's non-commercial, so it's for education purposes. Robin, can you, like where there's no derivatives, that's kind of more restricted, right? Like,
so there are different derivative kind of symbols from what I
Right.
understand. So you can
Yeah.
have it where it's completely free. You're allowed to do with whatever you want with it at all entirely. And then you can use it for educational purposes, and you can
right,
remix it with your own educational stuff, but you're not allowed to make money from it.
right,
And then you just cannot use it.
Right.
It's still very much copyright protected.
right. So I went back to our OER guide, and here's like the different types of licenses for Creative Commons. So for that book I just showed you, if you wanted to create your own copy and modify it, you could. But like I said, most instructors just want to take the textbook as is. And, whether I mean, even with textbooks, print or online that were agreed upon by that department for the class, not OER, just regular textbooks. I think faculty rarely use like every single chapter in a regular textbook. So, but it'd be nice to find something where you can use a lot of the material from the textbook. And then let me go back here, because you can even, because Kim, I was looking at your some of the courses you teach, and I thought I saw one course that had to do with blood banking.
Yes, transfusion medicine or
Yeah,
blood
so you
banking,
can
yes.
even type in terms like that and see if possibly there's money in banking. No, we don't want that. I thought
I gave plasma for money back as an undergrad.
I
so-
think maybe if we go into the other portal, we might find something. So, I mean, it does take time to like come up with alternate keywords and, not just search one portal, but maybe try several textbook portals with the help of a librarian. And I'm sure, and faculty that Robin and I have helped over the years usually find something when we're showing them some of these textbook portals available.
And we're also happy to put together a specific LibGuide if you do end up being divided between multiple resources. You can still put together something so that all of those resources can be found in one place for your students. So it's not as overwhelming to have to shift back and forth.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So now here's the VIVA Faculty Textbook Portal. Now there's going to be a change, like in the summer. It's still going to be through all right, let me click on VIVA Faculty Textbook Portal. I don't like the way this is set up. This might change come summer, because there's like a few links to click on before you actually get to the search screen for the portal.
Which is unfortunate because each time you have to click on something, you're more likely
Right.
to lose the audience that you're hoping to get.
And let me try blood banking here. It'll still be through, all right, notice down here, that's just the name of the company we do a lot of business with is EBSCOhost.
Because they own everything.
Right, yes, they do. And so I think it's still going to contain, I think, probably most of the books that are existing in here. It's just like the platform's going to look different come summer. But when we get the link to that new platform, I'll make sure to put it in the OER research guide or LibGuide. But let me see. So here, yeah, you might see things more specific. So with this VIVA Faculty Textbook Portal, you can preview the book or adopt it. So if I click on that link, all right, let me see, but you, okay, so all right, let me click here and see. I think it's still, okay. So you can, let's see how much I can, do I still have to? Yeah, I think to even preview it, you actually have to choose what campus you're from. So let me choose J. Sargent Reynolds. And then you can, well, of course you want to preview the book first, so you'll see
Right.
2 buttons. So you can preview it and it will open up. I don't know if you can see that window because it opened up in a separate window. But
They make it harder to get to than they really need to, especially
Right.
since ultimately when you get to it, it's most of them are free. I think they do have some that are like low cost,
right.
but those are pretty clearly indicated once you
If you
finally get to the
adopt-
search page.
If you adopt it, do your students go in to get the material the same way as this, or that's just the first time?
Okay, so what happens is
That's a
they
good
put the
question.
link, our VIVA staff will get the request and then they'll set it up and send Reynolds Library staff the link to add to Alma, which means the library catalog. And so if you go into the Reynolds Library catalog, but we'll give you the direct link. But that just means like we'll
It'll
give
be a
you
lot
the
easier
direct
for your
link and then you
students,
can
yeah.
give the direct link to students, but it's available to anyone at the college, meaning we'll also put the link in our library catalog so anyone can, you know, it's a multiple access point. So you can put it in the direct link to the book in your Canvas, and then we'll also put it in the catalog for maybe other people,
Anyone interested in?
anyone interested in that subject. But yeah, I don't think you're seeing because this opened up in a new window for me to preview it, but let me click on this button here, for adopting the ebook. So you'll notice on this screen, again, you want to choose your college. Yeah, it's only the ones with the stars that you have to add that information, your name, department, your email, your campus phone number.
I read number of sections as number of secrets. I was like, wait a minute.
The course name and number, like where you plan to use it, and the planned semester, you know, what semester you're going to start using it. And, you know, it doesn't have to be a firm, like, oh, yes, I'm going to use it this semester, but like, just go ahead and fill it out if you really think you might want to use the book after previewing it for your classes. And then leave that check mark down here, send a copy of this notification to my email address, but you should get, but they will get that right away. The email will automatically, or request will automatically be sent to VIVA staff and they'll get working on that. And then they'll send the link to the library staff and then we'll send the link to you.
So the actual turnaround for the request to having it for the students is like about a week?
Yeah, I would say no more than a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you don't hear from us in a week after you submit that form, give us a call or email me or Robin, and we'll contact VIVA to see what's going on. But usually it's no more than a week. Let me go back because you'll notice that for some of these books, you could still preview it, but instead of saying adopting, it says request a purchase of this item for your library. But you're going to get the same form. So there's, I think what it is they'd have a certain, there's some cost to the book, but there's,
Low cost.
it's low cost, right? But you don't have to worry about that. I don't know why they have to make that distinction for faculty, like adopt or purchase.
Do
Good.
students have to pay that $30 or $40, or is it just the
No.
library?
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Cool.
It should be coming out of the VIVA budget for this consortium. But you'll notice it's the same form. So yeah, I don't know how the new platform's gonna be set up, but sometimes I feel like if faculty are searching this on their own, they're going request a purchase for the library, and they're like, what? So I think they need to not put that,
Yeah, the
that-
whole process can be overwhelming.
right.
Just to get to
Yeah,
that
this is
point.
too cumbersome. I hope when the new platform comes out, it's a lot easier than this. But I mean, if you have any questions about this form, or if you want to search that VIVA Faculty Textbook Portal with Robin or I, we're happy to meet with you, and we can even help you fill out the form. But do know it doesn't cost you anything, or it doesn't cost your students anything. Yeah, that to me, you should just should be the same, whether you adopt it or request a purchase. It's low cost. It's not costing our end anything.
And she can still request the purchase if it's just one she wants to try out, but she's not necessarily gonna use
Right,
it for the
yeah,
class.
yeah.
It's fine.
So those are the only two that I wanted to show you. Although, like I said, there's a lot of other textbook portals out there, even ones besides what I list on this page here. But we can work together to find a portal where we can get lucky with that subject matter that you're covering in your classes.
I mean, it's one of the most exciting things about the whole OER movement is that it's growing and growing and growing. But of course, the downside of that, it's like having too many TV channels, and then it's like, where do I go? What do I want to pick?
Right.
So.
And so I'm going to have Robin now cover, unless there's any questions right now, I'm going to have Robin cover open pedagogy.
All right.
And I'm going to have her, unless you want to.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a meeting that I have to run to at 3:30, but I'm a librarian at a Maryland community college. Would it be okay if I reached out and set up a meeting with you guys to learn more about how your library's OER initiatives and stuff like that?
Sure, you could do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been super informative.
Oh yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so open pedagogy is just, really embracing the concept of open and trying to, it's adding it to teaching methods as well. And essentially, it's embracing trying to get assignments for students. They're called renewable or non-disposable assignments. And essentially, the ones that I'm focusing on, the point is to try to find things that the students are making that's more than just an essay that they're going to write, have graded by a professor, and then throw away. So what I'm going to be talking about are examples of open pedagogy or open assignments using either using Wikipedia and then followed by using LinkedIn. So with Wikipedia, there is just such a wide variety of what you can do. And I don't want to get off into the weeds of anything, so it's going to be tough for me to stay on topic because I get so excited about this. But so there are any number of ways that you can incorporate Wikipedia into your classroom. And the nice thing is there's a lot of the students sometimes don't like it because whatever they're doing is going to be available for the whole public to see. But the point of that is also to try to help them get over the shyness that they naturally have of this. And this is a nice way to do it where they're still protected by a username and they can actually see what they have out there. And sometimes when they get really excited about it, they'll tell their friends and family, hey, look at that, I edited that. So ways that you can involve it are you don't have to have your students create a whole new article. And in fact, that type of thing, especially for the medical area, is really carefully sifted through. So it's really difficult to do. But you can have them, there's any number of assignments. You can have them go through, since there are so many different languages in Wikipedia, you can have them, if students are learning a language, they can translate them. But for medical assignments, you can also have them look for articles that are not as fleshed out. So you could be talking about specific tools that you use, or some of the terminology. You can also have them go down and look at the sources within an article and have them format the sources if you want students to become more familiar with how to format the sources properly. It kind of involves more of students who've used Wikipedia for their assignments have reported back that they've had more of a sense of being part of a community online, which is a difficult thing to kind of step your toes into, just because it's just a huge area and it can be really intimidating. But they also have reported more confidence with media and general digital literacy. Students have some of the variety of assignments that students have had. There's also, if you look at the types of, we're all familiar with Wikipedia, but there are more. There's like Wikimedia and any number of them. So another way that they can do is go to, say, Wikimedia, and they take pictures of, so I'm not familiar with your area of instruction, but I'm thinking like if checking out on how many of these tools are there images of at different angles, whatever, taking pictures of them. And then one of the things that they get to learn as they upload this stuff is, how do I describe this? How do I put in the right metadata? If I'm describing this for somebody who's visually challenged, what am I going to put in there? And that's another thing that they might want to, it's a skill that they might want to learn, because they might ask, why would anyone visually challenged want to look at this tool? But maybe somebody's very good at research and they just want to know what tools are being used on them. There can be any number of reasons, but it's just a way to get students more familiar with the online community. I really like that one of taking pictures, actually. I think that's a fantastic one. Another way that you can use it is you can have students look at articles that have grammar issues, or that maybe have some citations that are questionable to you, and see if they catch whichever citations you think are questionable, and also have them just go through the grammar themselves. And if you don't want to push them to actually doing it online, you don't have to have them do it all the way online. You can just ask them to find the grammar issues and what would be suspicious about the article, print it out, make the notes, and turn it in. So it's different levels of involving Wikipedia and their online participation, but there are a lot of different ways to do it. Obviously, I'm not being as eloquent about it right now, but if you ever want to sit down, I'm more than happy to go through a full list, read it out. But another way, it's also a fun way to try to find if AI has been used for writing articles, and seeing if students can catch articles that are suspicious and have the hint of AI in them. Because a lot of students, especially I hate saying especially the ones that use AI, but it kind of does seem like that they don't dive as deep into AI. And I think that Wikipedia is actually a perfect example of AI as a tool as a whole. Is that when it first came out, there was a lot of, and there were a whole bunch of instructors who were like, don't go to Wikipedia. And that was just like the firm set line. And now I think instructors have adapted to it because it's just prevalent everywhere and we use it too. So it's changed from don't go to Wikipedia to, you can use it as a starting point, but check the sources and make sure those are correct, and then go to more reputable sources. I think AI is a lot like that. I think that there are some people who are trying really hard to set down a firm line of not using AI at all. And I think it's just one of those things that's going to be pervasively increasing and being more involved in classrooms. So I think a big part of this is going to be finding ways that we can incorporate AI for a better good, how to responsibly use AI. And I think that these kinds of assignments are really useful for that. I'm going to move on to the other type of open pedagogy assignment that I'm familiar with. And just a disclaimer, all of these I've learned about from various global open education weeks and learning about the amazing things other people do. I will give just a courtesy mention of people who write textbooks with their students, which is it's incredible, but it's also time consuming. I don't think that that's something we need to go into right now, because I think you have to be really, really hardcore to want to do that. But what I will go into is the LinkedIn type of assignment, which one of the cool things I heard an instructor say was that they had an assignment where they would have their students pick out peer-reviewed articles, academic articles, and then they would write a summary of it and then their opinion on the article. And then they would go on LinkedIn and they'd post it. And then the depth of this assignment would change. It would be like, sometimes they'd be asked to see if the authors have LinkedIn profiles, visit that profile. They don't have to say anything. We don't have to bother the author, but just, becoming more familiar with LinkedIn as a whole. And it serves multiple purposes. It gets their foot in the door with LinkedIn, and it's also starting early on in their career to start that professional portfolio. So, I mean, and again, sometimes students are really resistant to doing this because they're like, oh, that's associated with my name. They get really nervous about what they're going to post to it. I mean, they can always go back and delete it if they don't like it. But I think that part of the whole point of this open concept is that we want to get students past the idea that their schooling stops after they're done with the class. We want to get them past the idea that I just turn in the essay, do the tests, and I'm done, I'm out. We want them to be like, I care about this. I'm really learning. I want to learn. I'm absorbing what I'm doing, and it's reflected in what I'm putting out there to the world. So those are my 2 examples of open pedagogy and my little soapbox lecture on why it's important.
And see, did we want to share that link in the chat, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. So I made a little Google file, and 2 of them are pretty much just stream of consciousness ideas, but I'm really hoping to get more and more feedback from people on what kind of questions they have about open pedagogy, just their opinions on open resources, on open assignments, positive, negative, it doesn't matter. You can see some of my examples that are just, like I said, stream of consciousness, where I start at point A and somehow end up at point 6. So it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. There's also a Excel sheet where if you have any questions, you can write them in there. And then I'm also curious I would really like to get together a whole list of instructors here at Reynolds who are using open pedagogy or open resources or both. And I kind of just want to get a sense of how many people of how widespread it is, because I think a lot of people are also kind of doing it on the sly. That makes it sound weird, but I think that at least incorporating one extra source that is free online or something like that, I think a lot of instructors do that. And I think it's good to encourage that. Like any steps towards affordable education and open education, I think are things that to be encouraged. And we would also like to, as we get this list going, find a way to really encourage instructors who are doing this and reward them. So right now we don't have any trophies or anything on hand to give to instructors, but we would like to, as we get this list going, at least if the instructor is willing, do a little blog post about them, just a kind of a profile, talk about how they use them, their experiences, maybe where they want to see it going, anything like that. Because well, I'm so excited about all of it. Like, I just can't stop talking about it, how much I love it. And I desperately want more people to get as engaged and excited about it as I am. And any possible way that we can encourage it what I'm looking for. So
And if you share the link in your, the link to that, will she be able to,
yeah, it
add
should be
to
open
it?
to everyone. Let me pull that up real fast.
Would she need to sign in with Google or she
I
could?
don't think she needs to, because I think
Okay.
I set it to, but I'm not entirely certain because Google has become a little bit more.
I think if you hit the share button, maybe I'll be able to put it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if they want to push how far they're pushing having a Google account to access any of their materials. I know we've kind of had trouble with that in the past, but hopefully.
Yeah, it looks like I can put my name in.
Oh,
Oh, it says
awesome.
view only
Oh, it shouldn't be view only.
on the opened up to us about your open practices. It says view only.
Let me see.
Says you have to be logged. Oh, it's on me though. I have to be logged into my Google account to record.
Okay, yeah. So Google has gotten a little
So
bit more
it'll give
difficult about it.
An email basically to see if it's okay if I access it, I guess.
Mhm. Well, thank you for being
Yeah.
our guinea
You-
pig on this.
Yeah, you could click on request edit access and then maybe a link goes to Robin's email.
Yeah, I
and then
think that's
she'll-
what it is.
Yeah.
I do have a couple questions if that's okay.
Sure.
Is
Go
this a
ahead.
good time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I actually went out on the kind of went out to ChatGPT and asked them to come up with some OER resources to see what would pop up. I did get a lot of things that kind of helped me lead to other people's like other universities OER resources. For instance, VCU has an open educational resources for health sciences, but when I clicked on the link, and it's a guides.library.vcu.edu, and if I click on that, I can see the OER page. But if I click on any of the material, it appears that I have to be a VCU employee in order to actually see it. Is there a way, do you guys have a partnership with VCU that I could, or that, that you have access to their OER resources?
Yeah, I'm not sure, like,
Okay, I think you should be able to modify.
yeah, so I think whatever the ChatGPT was linking to you to, it might look like it's something open to the public, but it's
really,
apparently it
yeah.
can only be accessed by VCU, but I'm not aware of any
Yeah, it actually,
OER material that would only be available to VCU, so it must be something else.
it links it to their OER research page. And I mean, that's not the only one. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more colleges that it gave me, 7 more colleges that it gave me the page, but it basically all takes me to their OER page where those things would be, but I'm not able to access the individual materials.
Okay.
So I didn't know if there was some like within the library community, is there some sharing of OER resources if they have it common on their OER sites that we could, if it's something that I can see that I think that I might be helpful, are we able to contact them and ask if they can share that document?
If there's like, if you want to meet with Robin or I one-on-one and show us some of these
Yeah.
pages, like we could contact them.
I actually have a connection with the VCU Open Education Resources Librarian. So if you want to, here, I'll
Okay,
put my email in the chat. If you want to just email me directly, you can
Sure.
either take a screenshot or
Yeah.
type it in.
I'll just type it
I
in.
will find out
Give it to
about
you.
that. probably by tomorrow for you.
Okay, it's no hurry. I just was curious if you had come across that before when you were looking at
No,
OER
like I
resources.
haven't.
I have
Um,
come across libguides that are difficult to go deeper into the sources, where I only get kind of,
Yeah, that's what some of them are libguides. Yes, it does.
it
say
could be
that.
their libguide settings.
Yeah, and it could be like if it's a recent library guide, libguide, and it is about OER. Um, let me see what I have. Do I have one? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I have anything here that's, it could be like a book in the library, like a book they purchased on
Oh,
OER.
gotcha.
That's maybe an online book, but it's like a book they paid for that's only available.
Although that seems kind of,
Yeah, like I don't think in our guide I include everything in here should be open, but that could be possible. It's an ebook or print book that they actually purchased from a publisher where they
if
had
they're
to pay
charging
for it.
access for it, they should get a lot of
where they
angry
pay
letters.
for it, but it's OER. It's a book about OER, but it's not really an OER material. I don't know.
That's just so annoying if that's the case.
Yeah.
It makes me angry.
Okay. So do you have any other questions?
I do think that one of the hurdles that I have come across when I've been using open OER resources, mainly from having to go to sites that require a username and password, it kind of does put a barrier for the students to have the ability to actually do that. It's surprising, but I found enlightening that there's some students that don't know how to create a username and a password successfully and navigate their way to an assignment on a new website that requires that level
I think
of
a lot of it is a mix too of just like the overwhelming,
yeah.
how overwhelmed they are with just the
so
whole
the
digital
way-
platform.
Yeah, so the way that I've kind of had to go around that is the very first day of class, I actually have them come in person, and next time I think I'm going to do it in a computer room, but I had them bring their laptops, and we actually went and created our passwords and usernames at the same time, and I navigated them to the assignments in that format, and then they were able to complete them.
That's a great idea.
Find them and complete them. So I just wanted to share that, that I found part of my hurdles with using resources, especially that you have to register yourself in that website. And the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, they have a really good website that I use a lot called One Lab Reach, REACH. But their permissions, their registration to use that site, it's a bear. It has several layers that you have to complete and kind of like tell you a little bit about yourself before they let you in that site. And the students just want to just quit it. They don't want to go through to the end, or don't know how to complete that paperwork in order to actually get in. But once they're in, then they have no problems completing the assignments or finding them or doing that. And I have direct links to them, but just that initial hurdle really is a tall one.
Right.
Definitely.
So, but it is a free site.
It is a free site, yes. And we actually, I shared it with our nursing faculty because they were looking for, through one of their inspections that they had for accreditation, they had to prove that all of their students were given information about bloodborne pathogen training. And there's a wonderful module that they offer in that site, and it gives students their certificate, and they have an exam that they have to pass at the end. It's like a 10-question, thing. So it proves competency. And it does deliver the information, and the objectives are very clear. And so they actually use that to help with the accreditation of proving that they completed that assignment. But one of the things that I liked about using it is that each of the assignments that I assign, most of them are, you have to complete a little bit of a quiz, and then you get a certificate if you pass 80% or better on that. And they have to get the 80% in order to get their certificate. And then I have them upload the certificate onto my assignment.
It sounds like also that's the kind of website that they're going to need to be able to access in their professional career as well.
It is because in my career, we have to have so many continuing education a year. So it is definitely a free site that they could go in their future career and, you know, look and get new webinars or new things, new information, and get the proof that they need to show PDOs because they get the certificate. So yes, it is.
That's really, if you don't mind sharing a link to that website with me as well
Sure.
when you email me,
Sure.
I would really appreciate it because I would love to review that, see if
Yeah.
I can't do anything to help. You never know.
Yeah, I definitely will be reaching out to, yeah, could you put your, the speaker, could you put your email?
Oh, sure, let me do
as
that.
well?
Yeah, so I just put my email in the chat as well.
Thank you. And you guys are at the downtown, I mean, at the Parham Road campus?
Robin works at the downtown campus typically, and then I work at the Parham campus.
Okay.
Yeah. And any other questions?
I think that's
Or
it.
any
Thank you so
thoughts
much.
or?
Feelings, opinions.
Yeah, I think that it's very helpful. Like I said, having the information there on the library website, I think does give the students empowerment because they can see that as well, right? And look for resources as well if they need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is not OER, but, you know, I always promote our library databases. I mean, of course, I mean, that's paid for with tax money, tuition money, but not that the databases are free, but, you know, that's other material they could be using is you could either find articles in the databases that you want the whole class to read and then put links in Canvas to go directly to that article in the database. Of course, they have to log in to get access to the article, or they could do their own searches depending on the assignment.
Online, I offer a workshop weekly, just that basically goes over our databases and, you know, the first building blocks of information literacy. And I also, or we all also kind of teach the same stuff if anyone wants. And I realize it's hard because we have mini masters and, you know, class time is so valuable. But if you ever do want us to come into the class and just do a run through of how to access our databases and the peer reviewed articles and the difference between non-peer reviewed versus peer reviewed, we're always happy to do it.
Right.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, ladies.